For years, PSG had everything money, superstar, world class managers, Messi, Mbappe, Neymar. But somehow, Europe still belonged to everyone except Paris. And now, PSG have won Champions League back to back. And they have just beaten Aston Villa to win UEFA Super Cup for second consecutive year. So, what changed? How did the club that once tried to buy European football finally become the team sitting on top of it? Let's be honest, the old PSG was built around one idea: get the biggest name in football, put them together, and eventually they will win the Champions League. And on paper, it made perfect sense. Neymar arrived, then Lionel Messi joined him, and Kylian Mbappe was already there. Three of the biggest names in world football were wearing the same shirt. But the problem was football isn't played on paper. PSG could dominate Liga 1, score ridiculous number of goals, and collect domestic trophies. But when the Champions League knockout stages arrived, something always went wrong. The team was built around individual. Now look at the PSG today. The biggest difference isn't that they have better players. It's that they finally have a better team. And a huge part of that transformation comes down to one man, Luis Enrique. Instead of building the entire system around one superstar, Enrique built a system where everyone has a job. The forward press, the midfield control the game, the fullbacks attack. The defenders aren't just defending, they are helping PSG control possession. And most importantly, PSG don't need one player to save them. That's the biggest difference. During their 25-26 Champions League campaign, PSG had multiple players contributing consistently. Kvara Kvaratskhelia scored 10 Champions League goals, Dembele scored 8, Vitinha scored 6, and Desire Doué scored 5 goals. Four different players reaching at least 5 goals in a same Champions League campaign tells you everything. This isn't a team waiting for one superstar. This is a team where superstar is a system. And then there's the age of this team. PSG aren't just buying established superstar anymore. They are building a young squad. Their 25-26 Champions League winning team had an average age of roughly 24 years, and the academy has become part of Project 2, with the players like Warren Zaire-Emery, Sani Malulu, and Ibrahim Mbaye getting opportunities. That changes the mentality, because you are not just building a team for one season, you are building something that can stay at the top, and that's exactly what we are seeing now. In 2025, PSG finally won their first Champions League, and many people wondered, was it just their moment? Well, they answered that question themselves. In 2026, PSG went all the way again. They beat Monaco, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Bayern on road to the final before overcoming Arsenal on penalties after a 1-1 draw. That's not lucky Champions League run, that's consistency. And then in UEFA Super Cup, they defeated Aston Villa 2-1 to win back-to-back Super Cup, but back-to-back Champions Leagues. And suddenly, the conversation around PSG has completely changed. That's why PSG rise is so interesting. They didn't finally conquer Europe by signing bigger superstar than Messi. They didn't replace Neymar with a bigger name. They didn't find another Mbappe. They did almost the opposite. They stopped trying to make football about individual name. They made it about the team. And that might be the biggest lesson in modern football. Because you can spend hundreds of millions buying a squad, but you cannot buy chemistry, you cannot buy pressing, discipline, and you definitely can't buy a winning mentality. PSG had the money for years, but they were missing was an identity. Luis Enrique gave them one. And now PSG aren't chasing Europe anymore. Europe is chasing PSG. They have already won Champions League twice in a row. They have retained the UEFA Super Cup. They are developing young players, they are adding new players, and they are building a squad that could potentially dominate Europe for years. So maybe the real PSG revolution wasn't about signing Messi, Neymar, or Mbappe. Maybe it was about realizing they never needed bigger star. They needed a talented players who play for team. And right now, Paris Saint-Germain are no longer the club trying to conquer Europe. They are the club everyone else is trying to catch.